So hello everybody, welcome back. So this video is about making lines for gasoline and propane and other things that that are important. I hope that you do not have to do these lines and stuff like that because, quite frankly, the fuel lines are very dangerous. Not just because they are a security issue, since you're going to be stuck as practically a sitting duck for somebody that comes in a motorcycle trying to steal whatever the hell you have. But it is also a major problem for other things like explosions. And if you are in a line for gasoline and others, somebody might not know that there is lines in this particular area. There is a line or something, and they might think that you are going to continue on the way. And some people will crash into cars by the back. So there will be like a domino effect. But a lot of cars crashing one against another one, especially if you are in a highway. So try to avoid doing lines near highways, although lines in the highways are more important because those are the fuel stations that tend to be replenished first. And anyway, so before I continue, I wanted to remind you that down below is my email in case that you want to help me out by sending an Amazon gift card. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I also have some books in Gumroad. I'm working on the third one about power outages and shortages and how to deal with that. Sorry for the delay and thank you for the understanding. And anyway, so here's the deal. During 1999, the president came to power, and then he decided to fire all the people that worked for the fuel industry. And when that happened, of course, there were shortages in fuel because people did not go to work. And at that point, there were people that were doing a hell of a lot of lines, like for hours and sometimes days, because obviously, people needed the fuel. So things to consider is the road and the gas station, meaning, I'm going to explain this. Let's say that you have two roads, okay? So this one is going down, this one is going up. Now, you have gas stations in this side, and they are literally right in front of each other, like that, okay? But they are in different roads, meaning this one is going up, this one is going down. Here's the deal. A lot of people, and I do mean like 99% of people, didn't realize that they were making the line in this side. All these gas stations are empty, so they are here. However, all the gas stations that are literally, just crossing the street, like a meter away from you, all of these are filled. So it's like that because you need to figure out which one is the route that the trucks that refill the gas stations take. If they take a route that goes, like that, they go, like that, then these gas stations are going to be filled first. But the ones that are filled first normally are not the ones that people will go after. People will go after the ones that are close to them. So basically, these ones will be filled, and people will be here because these are the ones that are closer. So no, never, ever, ever assume that the lines are the ones that are correct. So number one, that one. Number two, never assume that just because the gas stations are in the same area, they're all empty. They're not. And never, ever, ever assume that just because they are, right there, or they don't have a line, like this one, since they don't have a line, that means that they will not get fuel or whatever. Oh, hell no. That means that probably it just means that, you need to check it out. Now, if you have a thing like this, all you need to do is park your car and, walk. Literally, just cross this street and try to figure out if these people are going to get these. Because if these ones do not have a line, and in this one you are number 200 or 400 or whatever, You might not get fuel, but this one, you might be the first one. So all you need to do is talk to this person and say, hey, are you going to get fuel? Do you have whatever? And then figure out how the hell to get here. Because obviously with a car, it's different because you will have like a bridge or whatever here, like a roadblock or whatever, like a separator, so you might not be able to go through with your car. But figure out if you can go from here to here, somehow. Or maybe you can save time by, taking a fuel container, fill it up, then come back, fill it up, then come back, figure out, then come back, figure out, then come back if you don't have fuel. So that's what a lot of people started doing because they realized that, oh hell, I would rather, use walk, get the fuel several times, like, 10 times, sometimes 8 times, sometimes 10 times, depending upon, whatever, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending upon the size of the container that they have. If they had containers that were 1 gallon, which was the normal thing, oh hell, then you need to make a lot of trips. But most people now will have 5-gallon containers, which is like half of the tank or something. So, oh hell, it's better to, you just to walk. So sometimes that might be a better choice. Figuring out if you can walk. Because if you can walk towards the gas station that has gas, you do not need to stand in line with the other cars. This is going to be, important. However, it's more dangerous because you're going to be handling fuel by walking. So maybe you will need a trolley or something to carry this container or whatever. But maybe you are a guy who is strong and maybe you can carry this thing by yourself. And so, it's not the same standing in line with cars, with a hell of a lot of cars, because people will know that, you are there and you might not be able to skip it, or if somebody is skipping some, other people will be, there creating problems because there will be people that will skip the line. And there will be people that will take bribes in order for you to go first. So you might want to do this by hand, like get in there with a motorcycle, fill it up, and then leave because, it's kind of like nobody will see you. So there is a hell of a lot of ways that you can try to get fuel in the lines and stuff like that. However, that is not your main concern. Your main concern is another one, and I'm going to tell you a few things that you might not know, and oh hell, if you already did it, I'm sorry. And anyway, you know how I have told you in several videos that you really, really, really want to get a car agenda? Yeah. Now you're going to know, one other reason why this is like that. So, you know how in the tanks, usually over time they will have sediments, dirt, small particles, water, okay? Because water and gasoline do not mix. And all of these things will be deposited in the bottom of the tanks. So what happens if all of the time, wherever you have a gas station going, people will go always, buy this part, the top part. But this part, the bottom part, the one that has all the sediments on it, this one. Yeah, people will use this one, but not that one. But if the gas station is completely, collapsed and they are using all of the fuel, that means that they are taking this part. That means that you might accidentally have now gasoline that has sediments or water in it, and now it is on your car. So this is going to be a problem because obviously your car cannot work with the fuel having dust on it. This is where you need a filter. You really wanted to have the filter, especially if you are getting the bottom part, like I said. And at this point, there will be a hell of a lot of cars that have the filter for the gasoline damaged, and they need to replace it, and this is going to cost you money. And the battery for the fuel, which is something that, I was kind of like, what? Why will you put a battery that has electricity next to the fuel? But whatever. Point being that the battery will also be damaged. And at this point, the water in the fuel is also going to create a hell of a lot of problems for your car. And so now you really, if you are panicking and you're buying the bottom, this bottom, oh hell, now you need to go and check your car, and probably, you can expect to have your car completely stopped at some point because of water or because of dirt. And so if you needed to go someplace or whatever, you might have your car filled with gasoline, but now you might be stopping. So you need to have towing phone numbers and mechanic phone numbers and stuff like that. And you need to tell them, that this is happening because of that. So you might need to have to buy spare parts for your car. Some models are easy to find or whatever. But the problem is that if you have, let's say, 1,000 cars that have the same problem, and they have, they have to back order this piece for you, then you're not going to be able to drive the car because that piece is being basically bought by everybody else because they are having the same problem as you. See, the situation in hard times is that you are assuming that you are alone in this situation. You are not alone. The same problem is happening to a hell of a lot of people. And if it is happening to a hell of a lot of people and they all require the same spare part, then that spare part is going to become scarce or more expensive or both. So you need to avoid doing making the line and being in the last group of cars that get the gasoline. You need to be in the middle. You cannot be the first group and you cannot be the bottom group. You need to be in the middle. This is where it pays to be in the middle. Now, you might be thinking, why don't I want to be in the first group? That way they will be purer or whatever. Oh, hell no. Because here's the deal. Let's say that you have people that have been in the line for, I don't know, let's say 5 days. Which is kind of like the average. So you have people there that have been there for 5 days, not going home, not showering, or maybe showering, but doing a hell of a lot of things to try to get there, looking like crazy, whatever. So, insane situation with these people. Of course, they're not going to be happy because they are not there, waiting for the favorite artist to show up. They are there because of necessity, and they are there angry because they are supposed to be doing something else. And probably in the beginning, if you are in the beginning of hard times, oh hell, you might find, not to be that much of a pressure. But if it is, with people that have been already stressed out, like right now because of the pandemic and all of other situations, oh hell. So whenever you have a fuel truck delivering fuel into the gas stations, you are supposed to have a period of waiting of maybe 2 or 3 hours. Okay? Because of several things. Number one, you are pouring fuel into, the tank that is on the ground. So that means that there are fumes, as in little smoke, okay, coming out of the fuel. That fume is very, very, very flammable. And this is why several, cars and gas stations and stuff have blown up here. Because they do not wait. Because you have a lot of people that are desperate to get the freaking gasoline. And so you are not waiting for this fume to be out. And you're also not waiting for the sediments to settle down. And because, how the hell do you tell people, yeah, the fuel truck is already here, we already have fuel, but we need to wait, 3 more hours so that we can start serving you. Oh hell, the people that are in the beginning of the line will be kind of like, you want me to wait more? Why? Are you going to skip someone? Are you going to what? And then what? Are you lazy? What? Do you have to make shift with somebody else? Why don't you just give me the fuel and stuff like that? People will not want to wait 3 more hours, even though they have been there for 5 days. So the situation will become worse as the problem worsens. So more and more people will be demanding that this time is shorter, So now it's going to be probably about an hour. And if you do not wait for this fuel to be, settled, it's going to be a problem. And like I said, you will have all these people that are insane because they want to go home and stuff like that. There will be people that will form groups in order for them to take shift. Meaning, let's say that you know the person that is, in front of you or behind you. Then you figure out how to get home by, taking, having somebody else pick you up, and then you can go home, and then you can lock your car, and then you let the person in front of you or behind you take care of your car while you're gone, and you can be gone for only 2 hours or 3 hours. Because, the other person can be there all the time, in case that there is a situation in which you need to move the car and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little bit of coordination and patience, and hopefully your cell phones are working and stuff like that. So you might need to have, radios if the radio range is working. So at this point, you may also need a social media group that is small. I do recommend, WhatsApp groups for gasoline. Because they do not have like 3,000 people trying to talk to you about the same time, because try to imagine 3,000 people commenting the same thing. It's not the same as 200 people that might be, willing to help you out with the information. Also, the information needs to have dates and times and places. Be very specific, because some people might not have data services or Wi-Fi, and the messages are not going to go through. Especially if your cell phone didn't have money on it and you forgot to put money on it, and now you are there and now you don't have money on it. Yeah, it's going to be very fun doing that. But anyway, point being that, in this group, you put only messages related to fuel. As in, and by the way, it's in a particular county. You cannot make it national, of course, because you don't care if somebody in New York has gasoline if you are in California. So you need to make it local, and that's why I told you that, needs to be very like local. County, I don't know, county, whatever. And the messages have to be specific, and if somebody in the groups starts, sending, images and stuff that will be heavy, they need to be removed from the group, and this is going to create friction between the members of the group. Because some people will be kind of like, yeah, but I'm bored, so I'm sending messages of jokes and stuff like that. Oh, hell no. The group is only for fuel things, meaning tips about the fuel. This is also very, very important to note. You are supposed to have things in your car for standing in line for several days. Now, a hell of a lot of people have never been in a car for, a hell of a lot of days straight with no, waking up from the car or whatever, and it's a problem. So some people will have hammocks. They will bring hammocks in their bags, especially like portable hammocks and stuff. And then they will try to figure out if there is a place nearby in the road that you can put the hammock in it. And then they will sleep in the hammock because it's easier on your back and stuff like that. Also, you might need to figure out what you're going to do about the food. Like I said, you might have somebody that you can call delivery so that they can come with food from the restaurant nearby or whatever. And this is going to be an issue if you do not have, your phone charged with money. And it's also going to be an issue if you do not have cash, because some people might not be able to charge you with your credit card. Some people might actually need your cash. And this is going to be very fun for some people. In fact, a lot of people will just bring foldable tables, and then they will play dominoes or cards or whatever with all the people nearby. And they will be kind of like, Yeah, I'm bored. So will you want to sit down here with me, play domino, and the side of the road, and there will be people doing that. Okay, so it's up to you what you want to do. But the most important part is that you try again not to be in the last part of the groups that are making the lines, because if you have, especially like I said, near highways, because highways have the problem of people being in a speeding situation and they do not know that you are completely stopped. I mean, most people think that you are just slowing down, and some people will just go like, crashing into your back, and then it will be domino effect. And crap, we have seen that a hell of a lot of times, and it's really, really, really bad. Also, considering the fact that there will be a lot of people walking, even though it's a highway, so some people might, run over pedestrians or even you. Um, Also, try to think in terms of opening the door with caution, because a hell of a lot of people will be, just driving next to you, kind of like this is the road, this is you. So people will be driving here all the time. If you open the door all of the suddenly without looking, which is like 99% of the time people do not look, especially for motorcycle people that will try to go through the middle, oh hell, then you're going to have accidents. So you need to be very careful when you open the doors. And you need to figure out how the hell you're going to go to the toilet, which is very, very, very important. That's why I told you that you needed a car agenda, and you might want to have pee devices that are for women so that they can do it standing up and not sitting down. And anyway, I have a car agenda, by the way, in my Gumroad account, in case that you want to check it out. And anyway, you also might want to have a watch, because people will go crazy in the lines, not knowing how much it has been. Some people will be looking at that through their cell phone, but if you do not want to look at the cell phone all the time, or you don't have a hell of a lot of battery in the cell phone, if you forgot your charger or whatever. By the way, a lot of people will go in the lines and they will share things with other people, and then they will not get them back. For example, let's say that the person right behind you wants to borrow your cell phone charger, and then you give them to them, and then you forgot, or they forget, or both of you forget, and now now you won't have the charger anymore in your car, because you lend it to someone and then they didn't return it. So this is going to happen a lot. This is going to happen with jackets, with blankets, with cell phone chargers, and other things. Also, if somebody asks for your phone, this is what you do. You tell them, "Will you give me the number so that I can call? I can text them for you." Do not hand off your cell phone to anyone, because they can. Some people will actually take their cell phone and run with it. So no, you are not supposed to hand over your cell phone. You are supposed to ask the person what do they want to call, what is the number, so that you can send the message. Or better yet, if there is a payphone in the gas station, give them coins so that they can call themselves with the coins. So at this point, you really, really want to have several things in your car. Like I said, you want to have a hell of a lot of coins, because even if you run out of the battery or whatever, you might need to call people. And the gas stations, usually, they do not always, but usually they have like I said, the payphone and stuff. So you also might want to consider the fact that you are going to be there for a long time. You do not know how long. If you do not know how long, the person that is counting on you for doing something else, they need to make plans with somebody else to do them. For example, let's say that you are supposed to pick up the kid at 12. Now you can't, because at 12 tomorrow. But now it is 12 tomorrow, and you are kind of like, oh my god, I'm still on the freaking line. This line was supposed to be, no longer than a few hours, but I have been there for days. So you need to figure out with the other person who is going to pick up the kid. Now, if you are the one that is important with the kid stuff, you need to have a security plan with the kid so that nobody pick up the kid without your permission. You need to have the password thing set up. If you do not know what I mean, let me explain this. Let's say that somebody in the line hears you. Hey, yeah, my son, I need somebody to pick it up, whatever, blah, blah, and somebody hears you. And that person, now knows that you have a kid that is expecting somebody to pick him up. This might be, an issue, especially for people that want to, kidnap kids. There are people like that. It doesn't happen that often. Quite frankly, it happens a hell of a lot of times in Mexico, which is where this thing was created. But this one was something that was not usual for us, but now it's kind of like more usual. So I hope that you do not need it, but just in case. So your kid gets, is in a school, and then your kid gets someone that says, hey, your father sent me. And then, the kids just gets into the car with the freaking stranger because they didn't have a security code. But what happens if, your kid says, yeah, I'm going with you, but I need you to give me the password. And then the guy or the person is kind of like, what? Yeah, if my dad sends you, then he should have told you the password. If you don't have the password, that means that my dad did not send you. Kind of like that. You need to think about it that way. Also, you need to figure out, how you are going to handle the cash. Because cash, if you're there for a few hours, it's not the same as being there for one day. And it's not the same as being 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. Oh hell, for all I know, where there have been people doing line for 22 days. So, and yes, 22 days in the countryside, mostly. People in the cities have been doing this for maybe 2, 3, or 4 or 5 days. I haven't heard anyone that is over 5 days in the cities, but in the countryside, oh hell, in the countryside it can be, up to 22 days. So yes. Now, so if you're going to spend cash all over these times like this, because you're buying food and buying things for several days straight, it's not the same as you figuring out something for a few hours. At this point, like I said, you really want to have, like I said, the fridge for the car and other things that might make your life a little bit better. Because see, most people are not thinking about living in their cars. And if you're already living in your car, you already have all these things. But the problem is that people that are living in their cars, they depend upon ice, and they depend upon several things that you're supposed to get in the supermarkets and stuff. So you might need a trolley or a cart, a shopping cart or something, so that you can go to the nearest supermarket or the nearest place to get ice and stuff like that, to try to get it into your car. And this might be a problem because, like I said, now you are not the only client that wants ice. Now there will be 200 people buying the same ice. So you will find shortages of ice. You will find shortages of food, and you will find shortages of of things that are disposable for going to toilets and stuff like that. So at this point, well, like I said, you want to have like a plan, as in what do you need in your car? Because at this point, most people are not going to hijack cars. However, they will be stealing gasoline for cars that are already parked. So if you are a person that is used to the idea of parking in front of your house, yeah, good luck with you finding gasoline in your car when you get out. No, now you need to park the car in the garage. Inside the garage. And I do mean that. Because people will be stealing the gasoline for the cars that are parking in the parking lots, in the shopping malls or whatever. So you might need to find, gasoline inside your car in case that you are stranded because you used to have gasoline in your car, but you went out to the movies and now you're going back to your car and your car is completely empty of the freaking thing. So, like I said, you have to think about people needing the same thing as you, not just you. Okay? And in other things that you might want to consider is that if you can, try not to involve children into your lines. Because if children are involved and then there is an accident or there are problems or whatever, yeah, good luck with that. And I do mean that because there are people that will bring children to the lines just because they think it's fun. It's not fun. You're supposed to have kids at home, okay? And even teens. Unless you want to be with them and they are strong enough to handle running and stuff like that. And also, if you get separated, which you will, because somebody has to take care of the car, and other people will have to do other things, then you need a plan to where to meet and how you are going to get home, by walking, by other means necessary, or if you're going to take which route to go home in case that there is a bigger problem. Because some people will actually do riots when they are in the gas stations, especially if they are seeing that somebody else is skipping the line. Let's say that you're in the front line and you are supposed to go first, and now you have 50 people right there in front of you, and then you're kind of like, oh hell no, I'm not waiting for 50 people. I'm first. I'm number 5 or number 4 in this list. I'm not going to let you put 50 people in front of me. So, but the people in there might be like, yeah, I own the gas station, or I work here, or I am the police, or whatever. So these people might be riot. If these people might be riot, oh my God, that can be a serious problem, because then you will have, the actual danger of them doing something crazy, like even firing, because there will be people that will bring firearms to the gas station where there are fumes, especially, like I said, if the gas station is just filling up right now. Like I said, if you are filling up the thing, it will have fumes. You are supposed to wait. Yeah, kind of like that. And other people will be using their cell phones right next to the gas station where there are a lot of fumes. If before you did it, no problem, it was before. But now you have an issue because the gas station is being filled more frequently. And it is a problem. So security issues about fire are going to be your main concern. And quite frankly, it's scary as hell. I have seen the videos of the things that do happen in these places. Oh crap, it's just very bad. I'm not going to tell you that is, oh, and by the way, if the situation prolongs itself for very, very long time, meaning, like I said, 22 days, and then you fill up the car, and then you have to wait 22 more days and stuff like that, and people are getting anxious, people will actually loot the fuel trucks. And I do not need to tell you that you do not, want to be near 400 people trying to loot a fuel truck. Oh hell, that has happened here like maybe 2 or 3 times. And I do not need to tell you that the 3 times there will be people that are so crazy that they are opening the trucks on the top part, and then they are actually smoking near that thing. So I do not need to tell you what kind of disasters these things can happen. So, by the way, also, if you have a hell of a lot of lines for taking fuel and stuff like that, that means that fuel is going to become more expensive. That means that if you want to get fuel, you might need to have a hell of a lot of cash and try to pay for it instead of you making the lines. That's what a lot of people did. A lot of people did like, okay, I'm going to stay in the line for maybe 5 days, and then I'm going to charge, $20 for the gas, even though it costed me 1 cent. Kind of like that. So if you're going to solve this problem and you have cash and you have money, oh hell, use the money, because money is going to be renewable. Your time is not going to be renewable. Okay, so try to find out who the hell can say that. And keep in mind that the black market for fuel is bad, very, very bad, in the sense of people mixing water with the gasoline to sell it to you like if it was pure gasoline, and it is not. So basically, counterfeiting fuel is going to be now a huge issue. And I do mean a huge issue, because now people will have, like I said, desperation for getting the fuel. And if people can put a little bit of fuel in a container and then you can fill it up with water and you can't tell the difference, yeah, kind of like that. So it's very bad. And people will do that, by the way. So again, fuel is going to be a huge issue. You need to figure out, who to trust in terms of buying fuel if you're going to, go through the black market. If not, then you have to try to wait, not be in the first group, not be in the last group, try to be in the middle. Try to figure out, other things that are important as you go along the way, okay? And if I remember something important, I will try to do a follow-up on the making line situation and all of these things. But the important part is have a car agenda, have have enough cash, and I do mean enough cash. And the fuel lines will have the secondary effect of people not having food and water in their houses, because most people do not know or cannot go to the supermarkets by walking, because they do not have, the habit of walking, or maybe there is a storm, or maybe whatever. So you need to prepare not for a shortage on these items, because there won't be a shortage of these items, but you not having these items because you cannot have access to the supermarkets and stuff unless you have like a shopping cart, and unless you can walk and stuff like that. So at this point, you might need to consider all of these things. If you live in a place near a gas station, you might find yourself, with a hell of a lot of cars, around your block, your entire block. If you have a hell of a lot of cars around your block, some of them might be blocking your garages in order for them to make the line, and some people will not know and will not notice that they are blocking your garage. So you might need to consider that as well. People will be blocking their garages, other people's garages and stuff when they are doing the line, when they are standing in the line with the cars, and this is going to be like a huge issue also. And there will be people that will be desperate, and since they can't go to the bathroom or whatever, they will be doing things in your grass, like dogs, and I do mean that. So I'm sorry about that. But you need to kind of be ready. This is one of the reasons why you want to have fences around your house, like really big fences. And anyway, I hope that this information is helpful. And if you have any comments or questions, I do try to get to them. So thank you for watching.